that was our discussion on violence. We'll probably revisit it at a later date. It's a really interesting conversation to have. Let's get into the last topic here. So, Jordan and I have fun every week bashing Nintendo and NX, but we're gonna take a positive spin on this to warm Dom's heart. We're gonna be doing our dream NX reveal. So basically, we're each gonna take a turn. We're gonna state what the best timing we feel would be for the NX in our opinion. You can go into launch lineup, you can go into features, you can go literally into whatever you want, and then we'll close out the show. So I'll lead off since this is my topic. For me, I hope they tackle Gamescom. They don't necessarily need to be there, but with the recent announcements of PlayStation not doing a conference and Xbox not doing a conference, I think Gamescom, that time period, people want to hear news, people want to hear new things. I think that'd definitely be the time period for them to strike while the iron's hot. I think it's August 17th, or I think that's Gamescom. Maybe 7th. I could be wrong. One of those 2 dates.
Coming up.
And I think that'd be definitely good. They could do a Nintendo Treehouse event if they want to control it. Though I do think it would hit way harder if they had their own stage presence, but I don't know if Nintendo would do that. So for me, the timing, Gamescom. I think they should do it within that week, maybe the day of like the launch of Gamescom.
I don't even think Nintendo does Gamescom, do they?
No, but I'm saying like I guess for the press
they're gonna have they're gonna have their own separate event.
Yeah, I think they should do NX. So for me, for my dream NX reveal, it'd be a Treehouse, the same week as Gamescom. So they're still in that zeitgeist of everyone wanting to hear news. So they come out, they announce the console, they say exactly what it does. They give a price point. I think this thing will $299 maybe, $349, $299 optimistically thinking about it. They'll let you know what the console is. It's this handheld console hybrid. It plugs into this, yada yada yada. Dream launch lineup for March. Obviously, you have Zelda. People want Metroid. I like Metroid. I don't know if that's something you want at launch to sell consoles. But I think it would get a lot of people happy. I don't know if as many people as people would expect. For me, I would definitely want a new Mario. And I would definitely want some not backwards compatibility, but like, not remakes, but like relaunches, or at least like, so for instance, like Mario Kart, have the Mario Kart be able to be buyable or playable on the NX. Smash.
Well, there was that rumor going around that Smash and I think Mario Kart and Mario Maker were going to have
all of those ports be available at launch. Splatoon 2, definitely people love that game. And I think
that's a mouthful. Splatoon 2
as well. No, I don't know if that was Splatoon 2, but definitely the Zelda. I think they should definitely have a 3D Mario, not a Super Mario World, this 2D kind of thing. I definitely think like a Galaxy or a.
It's time.
Yeah. And then a new IP would be cool. I don't know if that would happen, but a new IP would definitely be cool. And some really strong third party. Imagine if they announced that this is all going with Mass Effect Andromeda being available in March or around there. Imagine Mass Effect Andromeda's on the NX. That'd be super cool.
They need those third parties, man.
Yeah, so I definitely, for me, Gamescom, $299 or $349, and give us a good launch lineup and impress us. That's what my dream NX reveal would be. What about you guys?
So let me jump in. This is kind of a depressing topic because I have to tell you exactly what I think is not going to happen, but what I hope happens. I think you're right. $299 is probably the starting price point. Then maybe a model with more storage for $50 more, or whatever it is. That type of thing. And I think the gimmick is going to be this, semi-portable handheld thing that you can take with you and then come back and it connects to something and you can continue to play the same games. Or I don't know how exactly it's going to work, but I think that's what they think is going to be good. And that's their big idea that they're afraid everyone's going to steal. And I don't know. As far as timing, I guess Gamescom, why not? August. It's coming up. I can't imagine it going any later than September. I mean, if it has to be August or September that they announce this thing and show it and market it. Like, it has to be. It just, I don't know what else how they can wait. Yeah, I mean, because they do have some opportunity here with Scorpio slated. Again, that's part of the problem with Microsoft announcing that so early, I think, is that, in that time, someone might buy an NX, and then when Scorpio does come out half a year later, maybe that, I don't know. It just factors into it is all. But point being, Nintendo does have some opportunity here where it's that mid-life cycle kind of area where, a year or two ago, no one would have wanted to buy a new console that wasn't a PS4 or Xbox One. right, you wouldn't be upgrading from those. But now it's getting that point in the cycle where you're starting to get you might buy your slim model. Nowadays it's, an upgraded model, but it's to that point, right? The console cycle, I feel, has always actually been 3 years because we always get an iteration, and most people upgrade shortly after that's released. But yeah, the launch lineup, I'm with you. Obviously, Breath of the Wild will be there, and probably ports of Smash. The problem with porting Mario Maker and Splatoon, for example, is and backwards compatibility in general, is that how do you do that with the continued gimmicks that Nintendo uses? I mean, that you have another gamepad with the MX, with the NX, with the touchscreen. I mean, how do you? They really limit themselves when they have these weird gimmicks and they want to do something different moving forward. So I don't know how exactly they're gonna work that. And it was weird with the Wii U, if you guys remember, it was fully backwards compatible with the Wii, but you had to have the Wii remote from the old Wii with your Wii U. There's a lot of weird intricacies that are a result of these gimmicks that they always put in their hardware. So I'm infinitely curious to see what the heck this thing is. But even my dream launch, everything I just described, I don't see this thing doing very well at all. I just don't think it can really do much. It should do better than the Wii U, I'd imagine, but it's not gonna. Definitely not going to be what they hope it will be.
Jordan, hit us with your NX reveal of dreams.
Okay, so first of all, I want to make a point. I'm going to be appearing on a podcast called A Link to Our Pasts. A Link to Our Pasts, yeah, is the exact wording. I want to make sure I got that right. And basically it's kind of talking about your gaming history and, where you came from. Obviously, we know on this podcast that I am a PlayStation dude, but as I'm going to be talking about on that podcast in the next couple weeks, I started out with Nintendo. My first console that I ever got was a hand-me-down from my dad. That was the NES. And then I got an N64, brand new. That was my first new console, my first console that I owned specifically. And then got a GameCube first before PS2 or Xbox because it was the cheapest, and that was how I got my parents to buy it for me. So up until then, once I got the PS2, I changed over to being mostly PlayStation. Of course, I had a Wii for a long time, had a Wii U shortly, had a DS for a long time, had a 3DS for a long time, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color. The Game Boy Color was actually the first console that was mine that I got new, but it's obviously a handheld, so not a console. Anyways, all that being said, I am super into Nintendo. I am super into Nintendo, even though I don't talk about it much, and I give them a lot of shit. That's where my gaming started. That's where I got into games and how I learned to love them. And I got that Game Boy Color and that NES when I was 4 years old. So I have deep roots in Nintendo. I know that was a long intro, but I wanted to say I talk a lot of shit about them, but I love Nintendo. And so my dream Nintendo reveal is really important to me because this would be the way that Nintendo reels me back in. And they have a lot of people that they need to reel back in if they want to be viable in the console space in the future. That's a big thing for me. With this NX launch, they're really going to have to prove themselves. I know that they're not in financial trouble, and if it didn't sell well, it probably wouldn't be as bad as the Wii U, but if it didn't sell well, they could get through it and they could keep being Nintendo and move on, whatever. But in the eyes of gamers, if they screw this up, I think it's kind of over for them in a lot of ways.
As far as a console manufacturer, yeah.
Yeah, and they're just going to have so many people turn their backs. A lot of people already have, but this might be the final straw. So my dream is that, first of all, I don't think they would ever do it at Gamescom, because like I said, first of all, I don't think they have a big presence there, but Nintendo, I'm going to liken them to maybe... They probably haven't evolved into a Ninetales, but they're definitely a Vulpix. They like prancing around, they like being all pretty and being the center of attention. They're very gaudy, they're very arrogant, they're very much into being the belle of the ball, if you will. And so they're going to have their own event, they're going to blow this out. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I really think they want all eyes on them and they want the attention. They want to be the prom queen. So they're going to have their own event this fall. They need, maybe Metroid doesn't sell well. Maybe Animal Crossing and Pikmin don't sell well, but they need to get Nintendo fans back into buying Nintendo consoles because there's so many Nintendo fans that didn't buy the Wii U. A lot of people say, "Oh, the hardest of the hardcore bought the Wii U." Well, there's tons of Nintendo fans that didn't buy the Wii U. So whether it's this handheld home console hybrid or whatever, they have to get people back on their sides, and that all comes down to IP. Like I said, Pikmin, Metroid. If they had a Castlevania or something like that, that would be huge. They need those IP that people are going to say, wow, that's what I remember playing on my NES or my SNES. I love those old school Nintendo games, those old school properties. I want them to come back, and not just Mario Kart and Smash Brothers. Those are great. They're always going to sell well, but they need more stuff to entice more people. Second of all, I really, really, really want to see true third-party support. And I don't want, Ubisoft just making Raving Rabbids or Call of Duty bullshit Wii U edition or Madden All Play or what the fuck ever. I want these real, I don't want Mass Effect 3 2 years later or Batman Ultimate Edition, the Arkham game. I want, like you said, Mass Effect Andromeda. I want the
true
real
third-party support.
True third-party support. I want Battlefront on there. I want the real Call of Duty next year on there. I'm tired of these like half-assed ports because Nintendo makes a half-assed console. Which leads me to my third point. I really, really, really want it to be powerful. It doesn't sound like it's going to be super powerful. A lot of people saying it's, running at 900p, which is essentially a PS4 or Xbox One. That's about right. And I think that it would be great if it was a beefcake, if it was like the Scorpio, aka Big Boy. But they're probably not going to do that. So, my best hope is really that it's as powerful as the PS4, which I'll take it. It's honestly... once again, they're putting out an underpowered console way too late, but I would take it if...
What do you think the gimmick is?
There's my fourth point, Dom. I don't want any fucking gimmicks. Nintendo, make the NES, make the SNES, make a damn video game console.
Yeah.
You're gonna get a gimmick.
How awesome the NES and SNES were. Like, you didn't have... I mean, they had the expansions and stuff, but you really saw that with GameCube and N64, especially with these expansion packs and rumble packs and all these different modular things that you added to the console. I don't want that. I don't want gimmicks. I don't want more Wii U. I want a fucking game console, man. I want a controller with buttons and sticks that doesn't, is one piece and isn't a nunchuck and a remote. Like, Nintendo, make a video game console and put some dope-ass games on there, and I'll buy it.
I think the gimmick is that instead of owning a PS4 and owning a Vita and having cross-buy, they're like, we're going to put those two things together. So for $300, you get a mobile console that can also plug into your TV. I think they're taking...
If that was the gimmick, I'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be a cool gimmick.
Also, I think all of us are in agreement here that we wanted to have some kind of achievement trophy system.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Are you done with your?
Oh no,
your
no. I didn't have too much else to say, but
okay.
Yeah, I do think they need to put their big boy pants on, have achievements, make sure it's 1080p, at least 30 frames a second. Make sure it's got a Blu-ray player. None of these mini discs. If you want to do cartridges, that's fine, but it better be SD and not some weird proprietary thing. I don't want. Those are, when you say gimmick, you're more talking about like a Wiimote or a touchpad, the gamepad, I mean, stuff like that. But the mini gimmicks, the whole, mini discs for GameCube or the Wii not having Blu-ray support and only being, 480p, stuff like that. The little things need to be in place, and it needs to at least be standard among the other consoles.
Yeah.
I mean, the Wii U can't even play
shit like that, dude.
Yeah.
You gotta
Isn't
like
that bizarre.
It has Wi-Fi, but you have to have an adapter just to plug in an Ethernet cord. Like, stuff like that is like, what the fuck?
See, the big issue they're going to have, too, as we're going to close out because we're running kind of long, the big issue, too, is that in everybody's mind, Nintendo is the secondary console. Everyone is going to buys a PS4 and Xbox One, and then like, well, do I want the secondary console? No one ever goes out and says the Nintendo console is going to be the first console I purchase. Nowadays, it's always a secondary console, you know? So
that's okay. They can make a lot of money on that.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying that I think
that's their goal.
I don't really think that the NX is going to take away from Neo sales or Scorpio sales, because I don't think that's where it's trying to compete, because it knows it can't, because it is the secondary. And I think that's why they have to go the gimmicky route as far as it being mobile, is because they know they can't compete with the other consoles and the other facet. They have to have something where, why should I buy an NX? Oh, because I can take my NX with me. You can't take your Xbox with you. You can partially take your PS4 with you with a Vita, kind of. But you know what I mean? I think that's what they're relying on, is they need to be different enough because they know they can't compete with those two.
So to me, I mean, there's two things, I guess. Like, what I really want them to just release something along like as powerful as the Neo, and that's it. And it's just a console, it's a box, but you get Nintendo's IPs on it. That's what I would want. But that's, to me, that's kind of like, that's the easy answer, and that's not what makes like humans cool. Like, we try new things, and like if that's what every console generation was, then we would never get new things. Like, there never used to be shoulder buttons or analog sticks until someone was crazy enough to try it, and it probably sounded as ridiculous as VR sounds now, or as some of the other stuff like the Wii Waggle and the Wii U touchscreen. Like, yeah, a lot of the times it's wrong and it was a bad idea most of the time. But you have to do, like, you can't succeed without multiple failures, right? Like, that's kind of what drives the industry forward, in every industry, really. I mean, you have to try new things, otherwise it's never going to get.
It's time to reel it in, though. It's time to give me a controller with analog sticks and shit like that.
Well, they've had gimmicks that have worked in the past, but they need to. This is the one where their gimmick needs to work. It's going to have a gimmick, we all know that, but it needs to be the gimmick that works. I don't think it won't have a gimmick, but it needs to be the gimmick that works. So let's close out the show real quick, get really quick into what we're going to be playing, and then we'll close out the show. We ran kind of long. We had a lot of awesome topics today. For me, I really don't know what I'm going to be playing. I need to get into Red Dead. I wasn't able to play it this week. I'm almost into Mexico. If you guys are familiar with the game, you know kind of where I'm at then. For how fun it is to run by people and rope them and drag them behind your horse. It is a great time. Yeah, that game is, just playing that game gets me excited for the next Red Dead game. Smite, Overwatch. There was something else I was going to start playing, but I can't remember what it was. But yeah, so Red Dead pretty much. What about you guys? Oh, and I'm going to finish Stranger Things. So.
Yeah, so I mentioned on the podcast before that I'm going to be reviewing Bastion and Gravity Rush for Vita. Those will go up this weekend. And then also I wanted to mention the fact that I talked last week that I didn't beat Persona, so I would be shaving my beard and my head, which I am actually going to do, man of my word. But since we are in a new chapter of the Controlled Interest saga, and we are doing a video podcast now, I wanted to go ahead and have this hair and beard for the audience to see, if they wanted to go back or whatever. So you'd have the before and after. So next week, yes, I will be a baby sheep without any wool. Anyways, on to what I'm playing, whatever. Probably finish up Harry Potter. I got Star Wars Dark Disciple in, which is a book I've been anticipating a lot. I was waiting till paperback came out. And that is a story that is from unproduced episodes of Star Wars The Clone Wars. Once that got canceled, so the team could move on to Star Wars Rebels. They had this story for Asajj Ventress, who is one of my favorite Jedi, right up next to Ahsoka Tano, who's also getting her own novel this year. And Quinlan Voss is also in there. He's another Grey Jedi. Grey Jedi are basically people that have fallen from the Order and are not Sith. They're kind of dark and light at the same time. Very excited to read that book. Finishing up Goblet of Fire, as I said earlier. Stranger Things, I am going to finish up the second half, probably watching some here in a bit. I'm loving that show so much, man, and can't wait for the finale. And then as far as what I'm playing, it's definitely time for me to hop back in The Witcher. It's been more than a week or so since I played that. And yeah, I just kind of need to play more games this week because I really haven't played much at all. And then watching, I want to give a shout out. We were talking about scratching that Game of Thrones itch because Game of Thrones is over. Obviously, I played the Telltale game, but now I am watching the show Outlander on Starz, and that is based off of the recommendation of George Railroad Martin himself, who said that Outlander totally got snubbed by not getting Emmy nominations. So decided to check that out. It's about this girl that gets taken from World War II Britain back to the 1700s and has to live among these Scottish dudes. I have a lot of Scottish ancestry, and so I've always wanted to go there. It's really just Great Britain in general is really cool and a lot of beautiful vistas. So enjoying that show quite a bit. That is my next week.
Awesome. Dom, what are you playing?
So I need to finish Skyward Sword. Manda just entered the very last dungeon, so not too much left in that one. It's been interesting. I'm certainly glad I played it, but once I wrap that up, then I'll just get back into Syndicate. So
are you looking forward
Skyward
to it though?
Sword is kind
are
of
you
a
actually
chore.
into Syndicate, or are you just not feeling it?
Oh no, I'm liking it a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe once you start getting the feel of that hook, the grapple or whatever, that makes you you can just zip around the town.
Yeah, I've started using it. It's nice. It's fun.
I think that map is one of the more interesting maps in Assassin's Creed games too. It seems more alive to me.
London is gorgeous in that game.
Yeah. So, as always, here's the closing spiel. If you guys are listening to us, please try to share us with as many people as you can. Even if you have 10 people following you on Twitter, one person sees that and follows us. We're trying to grow as much as we can. Don't worry if you don't have a lot of followers or you don't have a lot of friends on Facebook or anything like that. Just sharing us, period, helps. Follow us
Jerrad,
Sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, based off of that specifically, since we're moving into video now, we've just moved past 20 YouTube subscribers. That I noticed that this week. And so I really wanted to push the fact, now that we have 20, I want all of our YouTube subscribers and even our SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play subscribers to make sure they share a bunch and try to get us out there. I want to, now that we've hit 20, I'd love to push to 50, just kind of like we did with our Twitter followers not too long ago. So get us out there, man. Hit us. Share us with your friends and let them know who we are if you like us. And if you are subscribed to us maybe on audio but not video or vice versa, then go to those places and subscribe, especially YouTube. So
yeah,
for one, we can get 100 YouTube subscribers and then get our own URL.
Awesome.
Build it brick by brick, 20 to 50 to 100. We'll be at 1 million before you know it, boys.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely try to, if you listen to us on iTunes, this is the way you're gonna take the podcast, give us a like and a rating if you have the time to. It really helps us. Also through Twitter, if you just tweet out our episodes or something like that, hashtagging anything like that would be greatly appreciated. We're growing slowly but surely.
Yay!
Lastly, I want to give a shout out to a link to our pasts, which is the podcast Jordan talked about earlier, which is a podcast where he interviews people talking about their gaming history. He's going to be going on that show pretty soon, so definitely check out that. We'll definitely tweet that out when it happens. Going to be closing out. I want to say one last thing. Awesome General Thrawn is canon now.
Grand Admiral.
Grand Admiral, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm not too familiar with the character, but he looked cool, so it seemed like people were excited. When I heard that announcement and people were up in a buzz about it, I'm not a huge Star Wars guy, but I looked into it and he's a really cool character. So it's really cool that they made him canon.
Dude, so much awesome news just came out of Star Wars Celebration. I was all over that.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us in our first ever video podcast if you're watching us on YouTube.
Woohoo!
So any closing words, guys?
Beyond audio into the realm of full color 3D motion video.
We're like Dorothy.
Yes, we ain't in Kansas no more.
You're right. Alrighty, catch you guys in episode 22. Bye.